It's okay. Glad to have you. These are some friends that we know. Boys that live in York for that. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 15. We're talking about Moses. And Moses, when God came to call him at the burning bush, he said, "You got the wrong guy." He came up with all these excuses. He was finally humbled. And that's when God knew he was ready. He said, "You know what? You're the right man for the job. I'm going to call you. You're going to lead my people out." And he did. He went through and he challenged Pharaoh. We went through all the 10 plagues. He did miracles and wonders and signs. And then he led them out. They were able to cross over the Red Sea. A picture of them leaving the world and entering into the journey of getting to the Promised Land. Leaving Egypt behind and being transformed into God's people. Being changed. So we see that once they leave Egypt and they cross the Red Sea and they get into the wilderness, they're being led by the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. They're being led by the presence of God. He's telling them exactly where to go. So every step they take is led directly by God. And at this point, we have millions of people wandering through the wilderness. They don't have a place to live. They don't have a city. They don't have a land yet. They are on their way to the Promised Land. They're going to have to fight and take it. But right now, they're just wandering. They're just walking through the wilderness. They're being led by Moses. So during this time, they can't necessarily provide for themselves. They can't stop and work a job. They can't stop and build houses. They have to keep going. Every time that cloud moves, they have to move. They're just living in tents. They're camping. It turned into a 40-year camping trip. We just went camping the other week. And I've always heard Pastor Wilkerson say, the best thing about camping is coming home. You go out, you spend time, we have fun. And I love camping. We did it all growing up, camping every summer. We do that a lot with our family. But a lot of times the best time of camping is when you finally get home. You get to take a shower in your own shower, you get to sleep in your own bed. It's like, all right, that's nice. But they spent 40 years out there in the wilderness. But during that 40 years, God was with them every step of the way. During that time in the wilderness, God said, "You know what? I'm going to provide for you. I'm going to give you everything that you need. I'm going to provide for your needs." The first thing that happened, as soon as they crossed the Red Sea and they get to the other side, we see the first part of chapter 15, they sing praises to God. They're so happy, they're so joyful, they're worshiping God, saying, "This is awesome. God, you've delivered us." But not too long after that, if you go down to verse 23, they had just crossed the Red Sea, just started their journey in the wilderness, just sung these great songs of praise to God. Now verse 23. "And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah." That's a word that means bitterness. And look at verse 24. "And the people murmured against Moses, saying, 'What shall we drink?'" The people had just witnessed God do great miracles in Egypt. They saw the 10 plagues. They saw him turn the water into blood. They saw him bring the flies and the frogs and the lice and the hail and the fire and the darkness. And they saw him slay the firstborn. But they also saw the protection that they got. All these things happened to the Egyptians, but there was a division between them and the Egyptians. It didn't happen to them. They saw that. They saw God part the Red Sea. They walked through it on dry ground. They had just finished praising God. And now they encounter their first challenge, and they murmur against Moses. "Moses, why did you bring us out here to die? There's no water to drink. What are we going to do?" Did they just forget all that they saw God do? How often do we do that in our lives? How often does God come through and